What's good, guys? It's Jason from Nyoka Ball Pythons. Finally have another video up, and in this one I'm going to be talking about a few things that I wish I knew before I started breeding ball pythons. So let's have a look.
Here we go.
So as I said, this video I'm going to be talking about some of the things I wish I knew, or some advice I wish I was given when I started breeding, not keeping. This video is really intended for the people who might have 2 or 3, 4 snakes and are thinking of dipping their foot into breeding ball pythons, or the person that's had 1 or 2 seasons behind them and you may not be doing some of these things, and it could make your road a little bit easier. So once again, keep in mind this is all my opinion based off my experiences and some of the rocky roads that I've been through in this hobby. So let's have a look. Okay guys, so when you're starting out, one of the first things you want to make sure you do is start with quality equipment. You got to imagine that you're going to be in this hobby for the long haul. You're not in this hobby for a short period of time. You're in it obviously for the long haul. So you want to get equipment that is going to last. Starting with your rack system. And I'm not saying you gotta run out and spend a ton of money on Freedom Breeder or ARS racks. In my collection, I have ARS racks, but I also have PVC racks. I also have a melamine rack. I think what's important is spending the money to get yourself a solid rack system. Whatever kind of rack system it is, you want to have a solid rack system so that you're not in a situation 3-4 years down the road where you're having an issue with racking and you need to replace it immediately. If you spend a little bit of money at the start and get yourself some quality racking, it'll last you for the long haul, and you can always add more racking afterwards. You're always going to be adding more racking and upgrading your equipment. But I think at the start you really should try and start with quality equipment. When we're talking about getting quality equipment, that also includes thermostats and bedding. And just from personal experience, I can remember using a cheap thermostat and having a failure at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, and having to run out. Unfortunately, I was able to get one that day, and having to run out and go and get one. And lo and behold, I ended up spending the money. At that point, I ended up spending the money on the higher end, more reliable thermostat. Guys, you're going to be investing, if you're in this, you're going to be investing hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on animals. Don't go cheap on bedding. Don't go cheap on a thermostat. Don't go cheap on your racking system. Invest in quality. It's going to show through in your animals. It's going to come through in the care of the animals, the comfort of the animals. The more comfortable your animals are, the better kept your animals are, the more productive they're going to be for you. The last quality element that you have to consider, and you really, maybe the most important of all the things I've talked about, is finding a quality rat breeder to feed your collection. At this point, I want to shout out James from Rodent HQ. He's been feeding my collection for the last 5-6 years. No complaints. Guys, you really want to get yourself a reliable rat breeder. Someone who's feeding their rats quality rat food. to someone who's going to be reliable. Someone who you know you can get rats from consistently when you need rats. The third thing that I personally am really, really appreciative of with my rat breeder is consistency in sizes. When I'm buying small rats, when I'm buying medium rats, when I'm buying fuzzies, I know what I'm gonna get, and there's no question. I'm not going to pick up smalls and they're the size of weens or anything like that. I know what I'm getting. So once again, James Rodent HQ, I thank you, man. You're the man. The second thing, and this actually should have been the first thing before even you make decisions on what kind of equipment to get. The second thing, though, that I want to talk about is educating yourself and informing yourself of different things like ball python feeding habits, just ball python husbandry in general, in terms of ball python genetics, in terms of the breeding process, in terms of the different morphs, all these kinds of things. You really need to educate yourself and inform yourself before you make the decision to go and attempt to breed ball pythons. When I was first starting out, I was fortunate enough to have a few mentors that have been doing it for a while to kind of guide me and inform me and help me. Also, at that time, you had awesome podcasts. All the old heads will remember Reptiles Radio. We had the forums where you could go and share and learn, and a lot of that is gone now. So people coming into the hobby, you really got to educate yourself and you really got to seek out that information, so that you can be successful in your breeding attempts. There's nothing, what you don't want is to be trying season after season and not being successful, having females that are slugging out, females that aren't producing anything. You want to maximize your chances of success, and one of the best ways of doing that is to stay informed and to just know about the animals that you're working with. Okay, the next thing that you want to consider when you are building up your breeding stock is you always want to be purchasing quality animals, also from quality, reputable people. All too many times I've seen people going on the classifieds. We all know which classifieds I'm talking about. Going on the classifieds and looking for the least expensive example of a morph. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for getting a good deal on an animal. But when you are purchasing breeding stock, you want to have the best example of that morph, whatever morph that you're looking for. You want the best example you can find, so that when you reproduce that animal, you're reproducing that animal, that awesome, whatever the gene might be, that awesome animal. If you are just purchasing an average looking version of one, well, then your offspring is going to be average. And I don't think any of us enter this hobby wanting to produce average looking animals. Another thing you want to consider, especially when you're starting out and you're building your breeding stock, is you want to buy from reputable people, because you want to be able to, if you're having an issue with the animal, you want to be able to go to them and get help with the animal. If you're a new breeder, you also want to be able to go to that breeder and ask for advice and ask of their wisdom and their experience. If you're buying off that person from the classifieds, and I'm sure many people will attest, all too many times you buy that animal from someone on the classifieds, you try to contact them back because you're having an issue with the animal and they don't hear back from you. But I bet that same person, if you see one of their classified ads and you ask them about a different animal, they'll get back to you real quick. Those are not the type of people that you want to be buying animals from. You want to be building your breeding stock from. So guys, invest in quality animals and work with quality people for when you're building up your breeding stock. Alright, the next tip, and this one, they're all important, but this one, man, I see so many new breeders and new people in the hobby making this mistake. The next tip is have a plan, guys, and follow through with your breeding plans. And what I mean is this. All too many times I've seen or talked to young breeders and they may see an animal. So let's say the person sees an orange dream pied and they really, really like the orange dream pied and they want to make the orange dream pied. Great. So they run out and they buy an orange dream Hereford pied. It's the only animal they buy and they grow that up. 6 months later, they see a leopard clown. They see a picture of a leopard clown and they really want a leopard clown and they want to produce that leopard clown. So they run out and they go out and they buy another, let's say a female leopard possible het clown. Now this individual doesn't have the animals to make either one of the animals that they want to achieve because they haven't bought the proper animals. And a lot of times what they'll do is go and breed those two animals together to make a leopard, orange dream leopard, possible het that, and you haven't made any progress. You haven't gotten any closer to the goals that you're trying to achieve, and now you have a bunch of animals that are possible double hets that you may hold back, you may try to move, but they're probably not going to get you to where you want to get to. So guys, essentially what I'm saying is when you are adding new animals to the collection, try to avoid that spontaneous purchase and think purchases through and make sure that purchases fit into your breeding plans and the animal will eventually produce something that you find desirable and it fits into your plan, as I said. When you're starting out a new project, start with the proper animals and again have a plan. There's nothing wrong with starting a breeding project with just one animal. I've done it myself where I've bought a female to grow up and I don't purchase the male for that female till the following season. It's a great strategy to use. Just make sure that when you are going to purchase that male, you're buying a male that fits your project and hopefully will fit in with a few other females that you have in your collection. You really do need to stay focused. You really do need to try to avoid those impulse buys, and believe me, we're all guilty of them. And just stay focused on your projects and carry them out. When we do shows, one of the things Shay gets really, really annoyed with me about is the amount of time that I spend talking to the other breeders.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's not like that, guys. Listen. It's not like that.
Talking to the other breeders at the expo. But those conversations to me are so important because it's an exchange of experiences, an exchange of things people are trying with their animals. Sometimes it's positive things that are happening with their collection. Sometimes it's negative things that are happening with their collection. But it's an exchange, that exchange of knowledge and exchange of experience is so important. In this hobby, we have to be willing to learn. We have to be willing to change things that we're doing in our collection. We have to stay humble and remember that we don't know everything and we are still learning how to care for these animals. When you are just starting out, build relationships with breeders. Ask them questions. Listen to their experiences. Listen to their advice. I myself, I can name, I won't in this video because I don't want to single out other people that may have helped me. But there's 3 or 4 breeders that I know I went to for advice and went to for help, and changed a lot of different things in my collection, and how, or in terms of how I was keeping, in terms of my ideology, in terms of what animals to add to the collection, or short and long term projects. We always need to borrow from people that know more than us. So in this hobby, it baffles me why new people come in and they don't want to listen to breeders that know more, or not even know more, the breeders that have more experience. I shouldn't say know more, because I've also learned some key lessons from breeders that had less experience from me, again just from that exchange of experiences.
So if I can just put one thing out there for all the listeners, Jason is a big YouTube researcher as well. So videos like this have been a great tool in his repertoire and building up his business as well. So don't be afraid to watch videos, not just ours, of course, we would love that, but YouTube research, social media, it's a powerful impact. So just a little insight from the wife on the other side of the camera.
Now, it's not just listening to other breeders. And this is going to sound weird, but hear me out. You also got to listen to your animals. Way too many new people in the hobby do things just because another breeder said or they read it online. You got to listen to your animals. You got to pay attention to your animals. Feeding response, are they feeding aggressive? If they're not feeding, are they shying away from food? Are they sitting on the heat, sitting away from the heat? When you open the tub, are they really skittish and trying to run away? Are they being aggressive towards you? All these different signs and indications, your animal's talking to you, and your animal is asking you for different things that it wants. Or in the case of when everything's right and you open that tub and that snake is looking very comfortable in the tub, eating great and doing great, then the animal's talking to you then too, telling you that things are good. You gotta pay attention to your animals. You gotta listen to them when they're talking to you, because ultimately we're doing this for the animals. So I know it may sound weird, or it sounds, I know some people out there feel me though. I know some people feel me when I say you gotta listen to your animals. So that's the next tip. Alright guys, and the final tip in this video is gonna be to remember to always take the time to enjoy your collection. Don't get so big that taking care of cleaning and feeding the animals is this huge onerous task that you dread. Always remember what made you want to get into this hobby, and that was the animals. You got to take time to enjoy your animals. Don't, very easy your collection can expand to something that now it's just work. When it gets to that, I don't know, you're going to lose your motivation to push forward. You're going to lose your motivation to persevere, in my opinion. So really and every individual is different in terms of what size of a collection to keep, but don't keep so many animals that you lose the joy of the animals, because ultimately that's the most important thing. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. If I've missed any pieces of advice, or if there's anything you feel you can add to contribute to the topic, please feel free to put it down in the comments. I would love to hear it. I always respond to people's comments. I actually enjoy reading them. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe our videos. We'll have another video out next week. Stay safe from this corona thing, guys. And till the next time, peace.
Take care.